All right, awesome. Looks like we're going to be recording this week. Last week we had a lot of issues not recording, so we had about a 15-second video. So if anybody's watching this in post, they're probably concerned or wondering what's going on. But this is actually going to be week 2. Let me throw my screen share up there. So yeah, week 2 of the Odin Ruby study group. I'm sure some people are going to be jumping on a little later. We had a couple late RSVPs, but this run through the slide. I'm actually going to be not doing too much with the slides. I'm going to talk more about the actual project this week, and hopefully, if we get a chance, we will be able to do some pairing. Everybody can jump there. I'm going to throw that link up in the chat if you guys want to jump in that. But when we get to it, so week 2. Again, I'm still Brian. That's my information if you haven't got it yet. This is all curriculum from the Odin project, which is actually open source. So if you haven't signed up for the Odin project, or if you're jumping in late, I know a lot of people were kind of waiting until we actually got into the actual meat of the curriculum before even joining us. So this is the week. The week to join is now. And we will be going over some actual problem sets, which is going to be pretty exciting. Also, something new that I kind of threw together. I found that I had so many links that I kept recommending every week, and I kind of wanted to do this in a while. I kind of made a website to kind of mirror what was on the Odin study group page, and then it's easily seen that we've got our weekly scheduled meetup right there, and then as far as the links and everything else that's needed. But one thing that I really liked that I would like to do, if anybody knows how to do it properly, is I'd like to have an ability, so because we get a lot of people actually viewing and not joining the actual Hangout, I'd like to have the live video on the Ruby Newbie Heroku app /live, have that there so that way people can watch and then they can actually have the chat down here. So if we do end up doing like a new chat, maybe IRC or whatever, I'm going to try to mess with it next weekend to see if there's anything out there. But that's my goal. It is open source, just like the Odin project. Just not much to it. There are just static pages, so there's nothing really to it to go ahead and fork it and add new stuff to it. I don't imagine it getting much bigger than just the couple static pages, because again, it's just a way to kind of collectively keep all the links, but still source everybody, get everybody to the actual study group page, which I think is this link right here. Well, that link's, I'll need to fix that. Oh, that works. So here's the study group page. So it just basically mirrors all this information here. So I just thought that'd make it a little easier. I guess a lot of people are finding the Ruby Newbies group on Google+, but again, we're just trying to get everybody back here and get into the curriculum very easily to be able to start and join up with us whenever they see fit. So that was made. If you guys do want to fork it and do a pull request or just edit some typos or anything like that, definitely feel free. But as far as this week, what we're going to work on is the Ruby building blocks. It's a problem set. We're just going to read through one of the problems, and we're going to actually try our hand at actually working through some of those problems. We also have, as far as this week, I'd hope you would finish the actual problem set this week, and I'm not sure where everybody else is at as far as the Ruby curriculum. But if you have any Ruby background, it probably should be no problem attempting these. The estimated time is 3 to 5 hours, and so that's something. If you're doing, Ilya, welcome. If you are working, normal people are doing at least like 2 hours a day, so you probably will fly through this, which is why I went ahead and said, go ahead and read through the advanced building blocks for the week. And if you can, start the advanced problem set, because as far as the schedule goes, I am looking to see, we should be able to do about, for each week, we should at least have a project to work on, the way it's kind of laid out for the rest of the time. So next week, we will hopefully start these projects, and you should at least have that done. And the following week, then we can do the object-oriented programming. This actually is kind of a meatier section. Yeah, it's 8 to 12. So we might not be able to do a project that week, but for every other week, it's just a lot of reading. So my goal is to get here by week 10, and if we can get past there, this will actually be pretty quick. And then the final project. If we can get to this by week 10, then I think I might just start on an extra week to do the final project. But yeah, we could definitely attack most of this. I think from what I've talked to in the morning group and some of the people that have been joining us at night, it seems like everybody's kind of at that pace. And if not, they're doing the Web Dev 101 stuff, and they're just here to hang out, which is more than happy to have you guys. More the merrier. So going back to this week, I did have a transcript put together, which we are on week 2. So let's do that in the chat for you guys. So obviously, if you haven't signed up, sign up. The assignment is the building blocks project. It's only 3 assignments, which consist of some pretty cool things. One, it's like I'm not sure how, it's a Caesar cipher, kind of like a password crypto thing going on. For whatever reason, I actually started working bottom up. I tend to always work bottom up with tests and problems. That's just the way I went through school, and that's the way I kind of approached this. So I actually completed this, where you can actually see my name here. And so that's substrings. That's a cool little problem. It took me about an hour to do. The stock picker I'm kind of working on, and approached it way too easily, so now I have to reconfigure what I need to do because I did not take into account this stuff, some of these quick tips. And this one I haven't even read through to see how to even start it yet. But going back to the transcript, oops, where are we? Some of the things that you might need to, I guess, read up on, and it's good to read up on as you get to it. The substrings, I use hashes, so I put a link into the Ruby doc that contains hashes. I had to read up on that personally, so I figured maybe some people might want to look into that. But if you guys aren't familiar with hashes, you should be by now if you've gotten this far and you're working through the problem set. But this is an hash returns a new empty hash, or returns a new empty hash. I guess I need to rewrite that. Actually, that's not the best to read. If this hash is subsequently accessed by a key, it doesn't correspond to a hash entry. The value returned depends on the style of new used to create the hash. So basically, the hash is almost like an array with, I don't know how to explain it. Well, a hash is like a hash, basically. So here I've got hash equals hash.new, and we put the parameter go fish. So that way when a new hash is created, it's already set to go fish. Normally hashes are kind of set to nil or 0, but then if you set it to 100 and you call back, then you will get 100. And I kind of forgot this morning how to actually call a hash, and that is true, Daniel. So Python, they do call it a dictionary, and arrays are called list. I did learn that in my Python course that I took. But which ironically, actually, substrings were working with dictionaries, but that's besides the fact. So, and another thing to kind of look into is regexes. I was just talking to Daniel earlier. If you aren't familiar with regexes, it seems like most people aren't, unless you, I guess maybe if you got a CS background or you have some experience with other programming languages. I went through the CS169 course, and we used a lot of regex, and I did not. I'm familiar with them, but what I normally do is kind of search through Stack Overflow or Google to get the regex I'm looking for. But this tutorial here, I think Daniel can attest that he's gone through it, and it's pretty helpful. I also was speaking to someone else through Twitter, and she actually had written this article here, which is actually located in the changelog, and it kind of gives you the front to back as far as regexes, and I highly recommend this video here. That's I also put in our gist or our transcript. So definitely check out that if you've got questions on regex or if you have no exposure to it, like I have. Kind of get you up to speed, because regexes they'll be very helpful, especially with this problem set. It's looking like. But as far as that's it. I want to get some feedback as far as. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you were speaking to me, but trying to see where everybody's at as far as the Ruby group. Does it seem like that the schedule that I kind of laid out there? Finishing this problem set this week and then moving on to the next problem set and finishing that the next week. Is that a good pace for everybody? Is everybody looking to get through as fast as I am? I think, yeah, okay. That's good. And so Russell, he's in agreement. Daniel's in agreement. It's good. And I assume that, yeah, it looks like, yeah, no one wants to talk. It's scary being recorded. But, that's fine. I think we've got the Q&A going too, so anybody that's viewing, you're able to communicate with us. If you do ask a question, I will see it. It should pop up for me, just FYI. We do have a couple of viewers at the moment. So that's good. So I assume most people, I mean, if they're like me, you probably put in at least 10 to 15 hours in a week. Russell, how much time are you putting in a week as far as studying?
Probably about 2 hours.
2 hours a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of this, I know the basics of Ruby. So some of this is, I'm just doing it more for the community of it. Not that I know everything, but a lot of it, it's like I know that, so it's like I don't really want to repeat it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I do recommend at least doing one of the problem sets, because then you can actually, what am I trying to get at? I guess you'd kind of like revisit some certain things. Right. And then as far as community-wise, I'm sure a lot of people actually probably could use the help getting through some of the things that are laid out. I know some things I'm actually remembering as I go along, like hashes. I don't think I've done any Ruby problems where I actually had to use a hash. Come to think of it, I think maybe in the Learn to Program there was a hash, but that might have been it. But that was good for me to kind of mess with my brain. So I am actually going to throw in a link into the chat, which I'll also throw it in the actual page. Yeah, it's very true. Hashes definitely very strong, and actually hashes are, I think, in the background used a lot in Rails as far as within the databases. I think a lot of the models
for Rails.
Yeah.
This link you put up, the Cloud 9 IDE.
Yeah.
This is like what, Nitrous?
Yeah, it's a equivalent to Nitrous. I think Nitrous you can do the same things as far as what I'm going to be doing here, but I like the live. It kind of works. It's working a lot better for me than Nitrous, even though I know I recommend the Nitrous in the beginning of this course. But I do like a lot of the commands that you can use in the terminal. A lot of them carry over from Sublime Text. So as far as command / can actually comment in and out, and some stuff in the command line.
So the link you just put up is live now?
Yeah, it's live.
Sign in, okay.
So if you guys feel free, if you want to sign in, I can give you some read-write access in here if you want to kind of pair with me as we go along. But I did want to work through, I guess that there's going to be some spoilers, so if you guys don't want to work through the substrings, feel free to close your eyes or mute the mic or turn off the video. But we're going to work through the third problem set because I feel like if we work through that, we can kind of get the workflow down for some people that might not might not want to mention that they're kind of stuck. Because I think I spent about an hour on this, and I don't know if I actually got stuck. On the regex stuff, I did kind of have to look it up. Like I said, I didn't really have much regex experience, but let's just jump right in. So what I always do with these Ruby problems is I put the question up top and just go ahead and comment it out. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with that. It seems like everybody's got some experience. But if we look through the problem, so we just need to implement a method called substrings that takes a word as a first argument, and then a second argument will be your dictionary. And here the Odin project's kind of laid it out for you. So what I did is I actually copied their dictionary, and what I'll do is I'll copy their command, because what I started off doing was actually I was writing test, but I felt like since we're not at the test point, it was kind of like, why go ahead and write test, and we'll just go ahead and get it done as far as now. Looks like, yeah, we got some ESOP. I just gave you read-write access in case if you want to just like type or comment or whatever. Okay. But yeah, so this is how I kind of wrote my little pseudo test by just calling in the method that we're supposed to be calling. And here in the command line, which is really cool, you just literally, all right, it's gonna be a sec to, I was actually having this problem this morning. I'm not sure if it's maybe system resources or whatnot, but sometimes the terminal hasn't been working whenever I've been doing screen sharing or using Google Hangouts. But essentially, you should be able to type down here.
And run terminal commands on our local machines?
It's not in your local machine. It's actually going to be running within the browser. But you can run it just like your terminal. But whatever. I mean, if anybody wants to write, wow, actually nothing's typing. Yeah, Ruby, what, building blocks .rb. I'm trying to write that in here. I might have to refresh the page.
I do see you typing that.
Yeah, so you could see me typing within the IDE, but sometimes I have to restart the page for me actually to be able to type in the terminal. So we'll see if that works. Oh, forget you saw that.
I didn't see it.
All right. Maybe I need to run it. Okay. Oh. All right. Well, I guess this was working this morning, and now it's not.
What's not working? The terminal's not working for you?
Yeah, it's not working for me as of now. Okay. Now it's working. I just had to open a new tab, I guess, which is fine. Normally you should be able just to use it with the split panes. But, all right, here we go. Let me hide this. Everybody got read-write access. If you jump in later and you want to get some access to write, just let me know. So this is my pseudo test. by calling the method, obviously it's not going to work because we haven't defined it yet. So substring's undefined, no method error. So obviously the first, oh, I say obviously, some people might not know, but the first step would be defining the method. So guess we'll get like Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer, and I'll ask questions, like simple questions, and you guys will answer them in the chat. So how would I define the method substrings? Like, what would be my next step as far as here? And get some audience participation. Actually, can I?
You gotta go def substrings.
Ooh, does that look better for everybody who's viewing? Yeah, so def substrings. Very good. Good job, Russell.
Yay, 10 points.
Yes. And so now I still have an undefined method. Did I save it?
I don't have your tab. Like, where are you writing the tests at?
It's in the terminal. You won't be able to see this. This is actually, normally it's supposed to be a split pane. I don't want to, I guess I could spend time trying to figure out how to get that back because I closed it. But I had to close it, reopen it in order to get it to work. But yeah, normally when you share within Cloud9, you won't be able to see their terminal. You can only see the IDE.
Okay.
But you can actually run that command within your terminal, and you get the most current state since you're actually in with read-write access. So now that we defined the actual the method, we're now getting a local variable error, which is because we haven't actually assigned any variables, but we're trying to call some arguments. Sorry, we haven't assigned any arguments, but we need to, well, I think you guys get the idea. So, I don't know why this is not closing. It's going to get pretty busy in here. All right. Just make sure everybody's got an opportunity to type if you'd like to. And so obviously we need to assign variables. So again, class, if you guys know how to assign a variable, do you know what goes in here? Actually, they kind of tell you here, don't they?
Yes, we need 2 arguments.
Yeah, we'll need 2 arguments, which for this point, we'll call them exactly what I called them already. So string and dictionary. So now we should have no error. Oh, I have to save it first.
So let me ask you, you're just like running the file. You're not using RSpec or anything. You're just running this building blocks RB file.
Yep, I'm just running the file. Sort of. Honestly, I don't really know much of mini test or unit test, but I know unit tests are kind of more simplistic than RSpec. But yeah, this is kind of this like bootstrapping my testing and not really using test.
Okay, I see what's going on there. Okay.
So yeah, that's just the way I kind of approached it. And I think undefined local variable dictionary. So I think okay, so the variable dictionary is causing an error because we haven't defined dictionary at all within here. So I mean, what I did when I was actually working through this is I just grabbed dictionary straight from the Odin project rather than, I mean, that's a lot of quotations and commas. I guess I could have wrote my own, but I found it a lot easier just to paste what the Odin gods had provided to us. So we won't make Odin mad, and we'll just do what he's provided. All right. So now my messed up test that I've kind of monkey patched into there. Monkey patch is actually not the right word, but whatever. Now I'm not getting any errors. So now I can move on to actually implementing the actual functionality of substrings. So I don't think anybody's actually completed it. I know Marina actually completed this. So does anybody have any? I mean, I've done this, but I kind of want to see like where everybody's at. No pressure, because I can type out everything, or if you guys want to type it out, by all means.
To me, I mean, this is the first time I've looked at this, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, and
Oh, sorry.
what
Let
I
me go
think
back
it's
to
saying
the. I didn't really explain the actual problem. So, but basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to take a string and check to see if it's within this dictionary. And then when the dictionary is then called back, we will then get that string and then how many times it comes, how many instances of that word is in the string. Or sorry, how many instances of that word from the dictionary is in the string? Yes, that's exactly what I'll be doing.
but we make the dictionary from the word that's passed in. So let's look at the word on line 10. Your array
Yeah.
below is in the array. So when we call substrings, we're trying to make substrings of the word below. So a string is like at least 2 characters, right?
Yeah.
So our substrings, I'm thinking, is like BELO. You see what I'm saying? Like we break the string passed in makes the dictionary. We want a dictionary. So are we creating this dictionary dynamically because you don't know what word somebody's going to pass in, right? Or if they pass in apples,
Yeah.
why is apples going to be in our dictionary?
Well, Apple's. So what we're doing right now. So that's why I kind of just copied from the Odin project. We're copying. Actually, did I read this wrong? Maybe I did read the problem set wrong. I was under the impression that we are checking the dictionary words and only taking into account any words from the string that are in that dictionary already. So the dictionary's already been created. We're not creating any new words in the dictionary.
Okay, I don't. Let me go and read the problem because you could be right. And if anybody knows what's going on, like pull my code because that's what we programming. So this is substrings. Okay, so word is the first argument, and then an array.
Yeah, checking the array of the substrings is a valid. So basing it off that already created dictionary, which is our second argument. Yeah, for the sake of ooh. Oh, was this in the yeah, I'm not sure who nobody attributed there. So it looks like we got some ghost text in here. I wasn't paying attention, but it looks like somebody attributed uh Imorvive. Not sure who that is, but it looks like I guess it just came from the Codecademy Ruby course, which is pretty cool. Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool. You know, I do remember this one within Codecademy. So, yeah, so this is I guess the Odin project kind of adds a little twist to it, I guess. But yeah, this definitely works. Let's see that X, that reverse.
Okay, you're right, Brian. This is the we're not doing it dynamically. They just this is the list.
Cool. So I guess and actually the Odin project does recommend that you kind of, if you haven't done a problem set like this before, to get your feet wet using this Codecademy warm up. It's just a quick problem, which I don't know if this is the one that Ilya is. This the same one? Yeah, actually it is. It's the same exact one. Cool. Yeah, actually I did this like months, maybe 6 months ago. So I actually had already had it done. So I kind of read through it real quick, reread it, because once you do it once in Codecademy, it's kind of can't really clear your answers. Well, I guess you could. You could reset it. But so yeah, that's kind of the basics. But with the dictionary, for the dictionary case, we actually let me comment that out.
So we can only pass in words that are in the dictionary. You can only pass in blow, down, go, going, horn, how, howdy,
Well, you can pass in
partner.
you can pass in any words you want, but if those words are in the dictionary, it wants to return a hash and how many times that word isn't, how many
Right.
times that word was used in your string. So that's what we're getting at. So, and I did leave out another command. Um, Substrings and I'm going the wrong one. So substrings, howdy partner, sit down. So obviously this word, actually all these words are in there, aren't they? Yeah, all these words are in there. So if I would put like Brian is the man, then essentially able to skip those words because it's not in the dictionary, so it won't return. So we'll see. We'll leave Brian as the man in there, but let's start working through some of these problems because we obviously know it's a string, and we obviously know we have a dictionary. So we just need to find a string and take each word that's in the string. So whether if it's just below or if it's howdy partner, sit down, how is it going, Brian is a man, you want to be able to check that against a dictionary. So the first step would actually be creating a loop to break down the string. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, and I actually didn't even, normally what I do is I write how I'm going to approach the problem here and some pseudocode. So take the string and check to there we go. So basically doing two things. Take the string, check to see if it's in the dictionary, return the checked word in a hash with a count of the number of instances. All right, so we've got a method. We've gotten that far. So we know we have to do something to the string. So what do we need to do to the string? You guys familiar with any different ways to split a string? Just,
String split.
yes. So string not split. And from the Ruby documentation, split takes an argument because you got to split it by something. So the way this is where I use the regexes. I actually use a regex which I have outlined here, which actually splits each word. So it skips any exclamation points, skips periods, skips quotations, what have you, which is here. Any letter, numbers, underscores, or underscores. So this will actually check for a word and split it by each word. I had to look up on Stack Overflow for that, so I actually, I didn't just pull that out of thin air of my brain. So, but for the sake of time, I'll just throw that in there. In this caret right here, we'll just check for the first word. In case we had like I imagine if we had a compound word, I guess I would check the first word. But yeah, that's the exact regex that I used. And then if you guys are familiar with loops, just taking each string or each instance inside a string, and we'll just call it word. And so I'm kind of pushing you guys to the way I did it. Hopefully that's fine. So what to do? So we know we have to check the dictionary. So any ideas as far as what to do with the dictionary now that we have a loop of strings? Because I know. It would be another loop. So dictionary dot each dot do. And so yeah, essentially that is what I did. I'll actually stop it there. You guys are more than happy if you don't know where to go next. Definitely look it up, but the next step would actually be, so now we're checking, we need to actually finish the other half of this. Check to see if the word is in the dictionary. That code would go here. So it'd be, I think I use the if statement in order to check and see if a word is within subword. And then I went ahead and returned a hash, which we actually didn't define. But for the sake of not providing the entire answer to you guys, are there any questions as far as the problem set? The Ruby documentation actually helps out a lot. It helped me a lot getting to this. Like I said, I spent a little over an hour. Was it last night on the couch, kind of working through this? And the stocker pickers kind of gave me a little trouble, but I haven't really spent that much time. I might have spent maybe 15 minutes on it. So, I mean, Russell, does this kind of make sense to you? I mean, you've got quite a bit of exposure to the Ruby language, right?
Yeah, this is how you would do it. But my only question is, just reading it now, it says implement a method substrings that takes a word, but you're taking it to the more general case where you can pass in a string of multiple words.
Yeah.
So I mean, it works, but
yeah, maybe it's not the exact thing that they're looking for.
Yeah, it's like what you're doing it works in a general case if you pass in a string with multiple words, but that's not exactly what they're asking for.
Yeah, you are right, because I think they had an example where part. Why is it? Whoa. substrings. So this actually looks like it kind of checked the word below.
Right.
And it got the word low and below. That, with the code that I wrote, I know for a fact it's not going to do that. But yeah, that just might be, that just might be more of me looking into it. Like I said, I'm a Ruby newbie myself, so a lot of stuff that I actually worked through in this problem, I kind of was learning as I was going along. So maybe next week I'll go through the actual answers. We'll go through each answer, and if some of you guys, if you are able to, it'd be much appreciated if you submit your answers on the page, so that way we can kind of walk through the. I mean, we can go through some of these guys' answers, but it'd be a lot more interesting to go through some of the answers for the people going through the Ruby Newbies right now.
So these answers are from people who've done it previously.
Yeah, correct.
And
And
how much is I don't want to. It seems like every time we talk, I'm hogging up the whole thing.
no, it's no problem, man.
But like how much participation are you getting? Like of people that are like actively doing it when you're doing it.
So it's hard to say since this is the first time we've actually gotten to actual problem set. Prior to this, we've actually only been reading, and I've kind of let everybody kind of get up to the speed with us,
right?
In order to go through some of the pre-course work. And I know one person this morning actually went through all of the Web Dev 101 stuff, and we've only been doing this for 2 weeks, so she kind of like must have ran right through all that stuff. So now she's right up to speed with where we are at. So as far as participation, it's kind of hard to say since this is our first time with the actual problem set to do.
Right.
But I'm getting a lot of feedback during the week as far as people having questions. So even though like we have 4 people at this moment on the video, we will have quite a few more who RSVP. So I mean, I get 20 plus 30 RSVPs a week. So people are getting the video links after the fact. And I think as far as some analytics, I think we had like getting about 200 views, I think. See, with the live views,
right?
They don't really. You can't just go to YouTube and look at the count of how many views it's gotten. You've got to look. I've got to look in with my Google Plus page to actually see all that for whatever reason. But we're getting 200 plus views between the two groups, so people
it could be
watching it after the fact.
It could be people or don't want to appear stupid and don't want to do it like recorded and submit like what they think and be wrong.
Yeah, so very true.
I think some of that is going on. People don't want to speak up and like, oh, I said something wrong, but that's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done my fair part of messing up. If you watch this morning's video, I walked through this problem set, and there's like I forgot how to call hash. But that's what it's all about. I mean, this putting yourself out there definitely helps. But I do have something else to say about that. I do want to finish this video, and I'll cut that, but I'll expound on that. But as far as this group, so we are going to. It seems like everybody's good with the pace that we're going to do. So finishing this problem set this week, starting the next section, which is step 3. So at least start reading through all this stuff because it's. I mean, the Odin project. What's nice about it? When I first started doing learning Ruby, there's so much information out there, and you kind of get lost. And I'm pretty scatterbrained. I don't know if you've noticed as I do some of these videos, I can start talking about one thing and start walking into another totally unrelated subject. That's just the way I work. But it kind of just lays it out for you and is reading through the next steps. But I highly recommend don't have a goal of completing every single one of these hyperlinks. If you do that, you'll pretty much goal yourself to death. I would think of using this as more of a buffet. And if you can finish all this and not be overwhelmed within a week, then by all means go ahead and do it. But if you're like me and you only have a limited amount of time, just pick a couple things. Definitely do the main assignments, which are here, which this is all just reading, which is easy enough. But if you're going to do additional resources, don't try to do all of it. Just definitely just do as much as you can, but still try to keep pace with everybody else. Because more than likely we're going to go through this. I plan on probably doing this same 10-week program again in the fall. Afshin was here for a little bit, and he talked about learning in concentric circles. Just like the hard tutorial, everybody recommends going through it twice. Once going straight through, and then another time going through and actually really learning everything. So definitely go through the problems, but when you get to, especially like this, 10 to 15 hours, that's pretty much what I do for a week. So I mean, if this was the only thing I was doing in a week, then that'd be fine. But I am definitely doing a lot more than just this project. So yeah, so take it. Don't try to overwhelm yourself by going through this, but the problem set is definitely going to help you. Attempting it is definitely going to help you, and I'd highly recommend don't spend more than an hour on each problem. If you can't get it in an hour, start searching through Google, and if it's like 2 hours, go ahead and start looking at other problems. Yeah, because we don't want you to get stuck. Also, try to reach out. I'm available. Some people have reached out to me throughout the week. I'm available for help. But on that note, go ahead and finish that. I'll send the notes, the transcripts, video links all on the page, and reach out, guys.
Okay.